have found in my research is that if you are a person who is resilient, you are going to do better in the after work, because aging confronts you with lots of challenges and changes. And the more resilient you are, the more easily you can overcome them and keep moving.
Hi, everybody. We have got an absolutely fascinating podcast for you today. If you see a big black tunnel ahead of you, retirement looming to sort of swallow you up, we've got Don Akchin, who has just written a book called The Afterwork, kind of like the afterlife after corporate America. And we're going to have a discussion about how incredible your second career can be. Please join us. It's going to be awesome. Hi, everybody. This is Diane Gilman, formerly known as the Queen of Jeans on QVC-HSN, but now the proud host of my podcast and my second book, Too Young to Be Old. And today we have a fascinating guest. It is Don Akchin, and he's got a new book out called The Afterwork. Sounds kind of spooky, huh? And let me tell you what, retirement is spooky. Don, I'll tell you, I related so much to the title of the book and your philosophy, because even as a young kid, and I was born to older parents, I watched them in retirement and I thought, no, wait a minute. This can't be all there is. Cutting coupons out of weekly Stop and Shop newsletters was not my idea of using your life correctly. So talk to me. How did you come to this philosophy, the afterwork, which I am 100% on board with?
I didn't exactly have a smooth transition of my own from working to not working. I had quite a lot of stumbles and probably spent 4 years not really comfortable with things, feeling a lot of guilt because I was not working. What I realized is that I was probably looking for something that didn't exist anymore, which is the traditional idea of retirement. It doesn't make sense anymore, mostly because we're living longer lives. And the original idea of retirement was a very short period after you stop working, when you can take your shoes off and relax. But you didn't have many years of it, because you weren't going to live into your late 70s. You were going to be in your 60s or 70s, and then that was it. Now, if you retire at 65, you may be looking at 20, 25, 30 more years of living.
Oh, yeah. A friend of mine, Iris Apfel, who became total maniacal success at 85 on social media, lived to be 103. Her husband lived to be 101. How do you plan out for all those years? How much belief do you have? I think if you believe you can make them happen, you will. But here's the question. What do you fill them up with? And that's where the afterwork comes in. I keep wanting to say the afterlife, but no. The afterwork.
Right. It comes before the afterlife. And really, my idea is that if you've got that much time in front of you, it's not going to make sense for you to spend 20 or 25 years relaxing on a beach drinking pina coladas.
Yeah.
You've got enough time that you could really do something new and exciting and different. What I posit is that you probably should, because it's better for your health, it's better for your mind, and why not?
Here is the conundrum. I had put in 50 years in fashion. I love fashion. But I said to myself, am I a one-note song? Am I a one-trick pony? Is there anything you'd like to do? I wanted to modernize myself, and the thrill was gone with tele-retail, and cable TV is dying a little more every day. So I got out of it, and then I thought, you know what? I can talk. Maybe I should try this podcasting thing. All I got from the people around me was, you want to work forever? I'm a human being that enjoys pressure, that functions with pressure. I need parameters. I need a road. I need goals. There was literally nobody, not one person my age, who I could talk to. So you are really hacking this. You're in a jungle. You have to hack your way through it to get to a clearing and understand your bearings. And all you've got is your own machete.
Well, I hope that my book will clear the way a little bit for people, because I do outline 4 basic ideas of what you could do in the after work. One, you could keep working forever. If you really love what you do, you can do that. Okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Until you didn't love it anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Or it didn't love you anymore. There is that as well.
Right. Okay. A second thing is you could look at part-time work, which gives you time to do things of your own with less pressure. For many people, that's not even an option. That's a necessity because they
Yeah.
haven't saved enough. And if you're living 25 or 30 years longer, how much more money do you have to save to
Oh my
not run
God.
out?
Exactly.
So, and the third is volunteering, because there's an awful lot of nonprofit organizations who I think are the threads that tie together society.
Yeah.
They do a lot of excellent work. They always need help, and they can value people who have some wisdom and some experience and have been through this rodeo before. And the last one is create your own, which I think is what you've done, Diane, and also what I've done.
And what I'm still doing.
Right.
I am putting threads out there, threads of knowledge, threads of creativity, threads of desire. Use your time wisely, use it productively, use it creatively, and you never know. I mean, frankly, I'm 80 years old at this age. What have I got to lose? I've got everything to gain.
Exactly. And if you decide that you've always had a zen for pottery and you go after it and you make lousy pots, it doesn't matter. Nobody's judging you anymore. You've already fulfilled all the adulting responsibilities that you had. You've been the parent, you've been maybe the grandparent, you paid the mortgage, you got through all the things you had to do, you served your time in a career. You're on your own now, and nobody's watching you. And if you fail, it's not really failure, it's just an experiment.
The problem is, and you're saying it right now, you don't need to turn judgment from other people into fuel. But I think so many of us worked in a corporate environment where you waited until somebody told you, go in this direction. Here's what you're doing today. That you get this reactive nature where you're waiting for someone to tell you, oh yeah, go ahead and do that. And that is not what this is about. For the After Work, which is such a great title and such a perfect part of our lives that we don't usually take advantage of. You may meet a whole new set of people. I mean, get ready to be open to that. You may have been in a corporation most of your life and sort of it got very dull, but very expected, which can feel cushy. Get ready to still be having excitement in your life and maybe building a whole new community around you.
Well, one of the things that you mentioned is openness. And what I have found in my research is that if you are a person who is resilient, you are going to do better in the after work, because aging confronts you with lots of challenges and changes. And the more resilient you are, the more easily you can overcome them and keep moving. And nobody out there has a manual about how to do this.
I really wish they sort of did. I mean, there would be all sorts of things I would want to know. Am I zigging or should I be zagging?
I look at it as we're in a whole new situation that has never occurred in the world before, where there are as many people over 50 as there are people under 20. Usually societies are like a pyramid with lots of young people at the bottom and just a few old people at the top. But it's more like a square now. We're looking at a very different demographic.
Yeah.
So once again, the baby boomer generation is very large, and because it's large, it has the capacity to change some attitudes. And I hope that an attitude of openness and willing to try new things and to get a second wind and move forward after the first career is over is one of those things we can affect and change society to do.
I would say one thing, which is the 600-pound gorilla in the room, is artificial intelligence. And whether you are 20 or you are 80, like me, artificial intelligence, people, is going to take away a lot of jobs. That is going to put pressure on every generation to be more entrepreneurial and more creative. Because if you can have a small foundational business, whatever it is, that rests on creative personality, that is one thing that AI cannot really totally attack. We're going into such a different world. I think that the baby boomer generation got a chance over the decades to be whatever they wanted to be. When we were young, we all bounded together and had a huge voice. And now that we're older, I don't know why this happened, but it did. We're just completely without a voice. And for some reason, I think we are taught that you don't even deserve a voice if you're older. And we are going to have to get over that philosophy.
Absolutely. Ageism is one of the obstacles that you are going to be confronting. To a great degree, what we're looking at in the afterwork is not corporate jobs. We're looking at small business. We're looking at creating your own job out of something that you have a hankering for, or just doing it for the fun of it and not expecting the money to follow, but doing it just for your own enjoyment.
Yeah, I did that with my books. I did also a book that was a series of females talking about perhaps the most stressful moment of their lives, how they got into it and out of it. Never did it. I actually never even did fashion for the money. I did it for the love of the craft. So I was pretty set up for at the after work because I had seen my parents use their time in a certain way that I did not feel comfortable with. Although I must say, for my parents, they came from a generation that was deeply affected by the Great Depression of 1929.
Absolutely.
And if you could retire and not work by the time you were 60, oh my God, you were, hey, in the top echelon of people. And this was a great position to be in. I think that one thing we need to do is be very fluid. And I don't think that's easy at an older age, but I think you've got to be fluid because, very honestly, all you have to do is open your eyes and ears, look and listen around you, and you will know we are in a period of great change.
Absolutely.
And not all of it is what we expected or agree with. And what can you do in a way to protect yourself? Use the best of yourself. I think for the after work, honestly, Don, you've got to take into account who you are, what your best strength is, and go at it from there. I think the after work is hand in hand with a very honest self-analysis.
Well, and that's not easy for everyone. Fortunately, although there are no manuals, and what passes for retirement planning usually means financial planning only.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
There has arisen a new profession of retirement coaches. And these are people who actually sit down with clients who are having trouble figuring out where to go next. And they do what coaches do. They figure out what makes the most sense. What are the passions that they have that they've kind of buried, and what are the values that matter the most to them? And they help a lot of people through this transition. Men particularly have a very difficult transition. Men who have focused almost exclusively on their career, haven't developed other sides of themselves. The career ends and they have this big hole in their life and they're not sure what to do. Some of them, exactly.
That's just like women who are nurturers for children all their lives. Suddenly that's gone. And now you have nothing to do but live your life through them long distance. And that is very scary. For me, my whole life has been business, and it's been much more think like a man, right? Like, who am I now that I'm not a fashion designer and a television personality anymore? Who am I? Because if I'm not somebody, then I'm nobody. And oh, that's really scary. So having to redefine and reshape your identity becomes, to me, the number one goal that goes along with the after work.
Some people have an easy time of it. Women seem to do better because they've been multitasking their whole lives, juggling 4 plates, and one of them is your career. Okay, take that plate out, substitute a new plate. It's a little easier for them than somebody who has been solely focused on one thing all their lives, which is something that culturally we allow men to do. It's surprising what those losses are like. If you've been in the C-suite and suddenly you're home and you're wondering, well, who's going to run the Xerox copies? Well, it's not your spouse. Who's going to
who's gonna fix the home printer?
And where's the
Who's
coffee?
gonna put the ink in? I mean, that's me, that's for sure.
And who makes the coffee? Well, you do. I talked to, for example, a professor who had been a department chair. He said that as long as he was a department chair, people deferred to him, they respected him, he was somebody. He stops and he's a nobody. Yep. And he was really surprised. It's a shock. And there are going to be lots of shocks and surprises, which is why resilience is so key.
I think even beyond resilience, you've got to be extremely responsive and you've got to roll with it. Seriously. The chances are you will never go back into a corporate environment again. For me, that was a real thank God. I think the toughest thing for me is you got to take it one day at a time. And where it took me countless decades to build up a business and come to that one light bulb moment that made everything spark. I mean, I was 60 when I invented the middle-aged jean. I've been designing since I was 25, 20. Now I expect it to happen within like 5 or 6 weeks. And, I think that the one thing that I would say I have to work on is unreasonable expectations. That is a real danger point because you can get very disillusioned on that point in the afterwork.
Well, it's a long game, but you've got time to work it. And that's what I think is the amazing revelation I came to. When I started retirement, I was not very optimistic about my future. I was thinking, my dad died when he was 72. I'm probably not long for this world. Blah, blah, blah. Fortunately, I got out of it quickly and found the spark. Had a really nice after-work career writing a weekly column about aging that's positive and writing this book. Writing a book is something I wanted to do since I was 7 years old.
Wow.
So now at 74, I'm looking forward to becoming an overnight sensation,
There you go. Yeah, like it better just happen like that.
Absolutely.
Boom.
But it is a long game, and you have to assume that things take their time.
I'll tell you what, it's a very good thing to do when you're older. You're constantly giving yourself goals. You're giving yourself records to set. You're having to push yourself into new areas and be nimble and learn fast. And all of that is very good for your brain, very good for your heart, and has a certain spiritual edge to it as well. Because if you're not grateful, at least at my age, 80, that you're still active and learning and meeting and everything is new, and then definitely start to work on it. Immediately. These are the precious years. The after-work years are the precious years.
Psychologists have a name for what you're describing. They call it growth mindset. Growth mindset basically means you stay curious. You're always learning. You're always looking for something different or answers to old questions that are different. And that is what characterizes people who really do well with aging and who are going to do well in the afterwork.
I would end this podcast by saying doing well as you're aging is not a passive posture. It's me, Diane Gilman, and I'm going to talk about it again. Red light and what it does for your skin, your blood circulation, your production of collagen, your overall health. There are a whole series of devices, but today we're talking about Magellan, which is a red light face mask. You want to see a true improvement to your skin if you've got fine lines and wrinkles, if you've got acne or have breakouts, if you are feeling very pale and wan after the winter. Red light is a miracle, and I will predict, I am going on record as saying that red light and what it does for your overall skin health, the largest organ on your body, is so far beyond any topical you can put on by itself. Now, I will do the red light, the face mask. Magellan has so many little light points. Easy to wear, soft, pliable. I do it religiously every other day. It has made a tremendous difference. You'll see in 20 years, everybody will be using red light, but you can be one of the first with the Magellan red light face mask. Do it, ladies. You'll love it. You'll see the results so quickly, and you'll never look back and you'll say, Lady Diane Gilman, she really knew what she was talking about. Yeah, in this instance, I do. It's a miracle. Red light is the future here today.
Yes.
I consider the after work time of life as custom made by you, as motivated and initiated by you, where most of us have been taught that old age is helpless, hapless, and people just sort of push you around and tell you where to go and what to do, and you do it. It's not. This could be a time of life where you really call the shots in your life. I think it's a whole mind switch. Your mindset has to switch to something more creatively aggressive.
Well, and this is why I don't like to use the word retirement, because retirement always signified the beginning of the end. It's about withdrawing and it's about stepping back. The afterwork is not the beginning of the end. It can be the beginning of something new and exciting. And that's
totally. It could be something you wanted to do all your life, and you're going to do it on a small scale, which is fine and I think appropriate. I want to congratulate you on your book, and I totally want to congratulate you on one of the best titles ever. I'm so jealous of you, Don. The Afterwork is a great title. And thank you so much for sharing your ideas. Don Akchin, this is such a pertinent book for the times we're living in. Thank you.
Diane,
Thank you.
thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to talk with you today.
Thank you so much for listening to Too Young to Be Old podcast. The episode may be over, but the fun doesn't have to stop here. Find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at The Diane Gilman, or visit our website, thedianegilman.com. If you like the show, leave us a rating or a review and subscribe so you don't miss the next episode. And until then, don't forget, age is just a number. Together, we'll prove that we are all too young to be old.